I need to tell you something that's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. The single biggest financial mistake I see middle-class Americans making is not credit card debt, it's not student loans, it's not even failing to save for retirement, it's buying cars the wrong way. And I'm not just talking about buying expensive cars, I'm talking about the entire way most people approach car ownership. It's a wealth-destroying machine that's been normalized in our culture to the point where people think it's just what you're supposed to do. Get a job, get a car payment, repeat every 5 to 7 years until you die. I've spent over 50 years analyzing how people build wealth and how people stay broke, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that if you fix this one thing, if you change how you think about cars, you will retire years earlier than you would otherwise. You'll have hundreds of thousands of dollars more in your retirement accounts. You'll sleep better at night knowing you're not hemorrhaging money on something that loses value every single day you own it. Let me take you back to 1974. I had just started my investment firm, and I was doing well, making good money for the first time in my life. And like an idiot, I went out and bought a brand new Jaguar. It was beautiful, it was fast, and I convinced myself I deserved it after years of struggling to build the business. That car cost me about $18,000, which in today's money is roughly $90,000. I kept it for 4 years, and when I sold it, I got $5,000 for it. I lost $13,000 in depreciation alone, not counting insurance, maintenance, or the opportunity cost of what that money could have earned if I'd invested it instead. That one decision, that one car, cost me what would be worth over $400,000 today if I had just put that money in the market and left it alone. $400,000 for a car I barely remember driving. That was the moment I learned the most expensive lesson of my financial life. Cars are not assets. They're liabilities pretending to be assets, and the way most people buy them is financial suicide. If this is making you uncomfortable because you just signed a car loan last month, hit that like button right now. You need to hear this. Here's what nobody tells you about cars. The entire auto industry, the dealerships, the manufacturers, the finance companies, they've all conspired, not in some illegal way, but in a very effective marketing way, to convince you that car payments are just a normal part of life. They're not. Car payments are a choice, and it's a choice that's keeping you poor. The average new car payment in America right now is over $700 a month. $700. That's $8,400 a year, and the average car loan is now over 6 years long. Do you understand what you're actually doing when you sign that paperwork? You're committing to sending $50,000, not to an investment account, not to a retirement fund, not to your kids' college education, but to a depreciating asset that will be worth maybe $15,000 by the time you're done paying for it. You're taking $50,000 and turning it into $15,000. Show me an investment advisor who would recommend that trade, and I'll show you someone who should be in prison. But we do it with cars, and we don't even think twice. Here's why this happens. Cars are emotional purchases disguised as practical necessities. You don't just need transportation, you need to feel successful. You need to show your neighbors and coworkers that you've made it. You need that new car smell, those leather seats, that backup camera and heated steering wheel. The dealers know this. They're not selling you transportation. They're selling you status, comfort, and the illusion of success. And they're very, very good at it. I've watched this destroy wealth for decades. Someone gets their first real job making $50,000 or $60,000 a year. They're finally making decent money. They feel like they've earned the right to drive something nice. So they walk into a dealership and the salesman doesn't ask how much car they can afford. He asks what monthly payment they're comfortable with. This is the trap. Because the salesman doesn't care about the total price of the car, he doesn't care about the interest rate, he doesn't even care how long the loan is. He just needs to get you to a monthly payment that sounds reasonable. $600 a month? Sure, we can do that. They'll stretch the loan to 7 years, they'll inflate the price, they'll bury you in dealer fees and extended warranties, but they'll get you to that $600 payment. And you'll drive off the lot thinking you got a good deal because it fits your budget. Let me be brutally honest with you about something. Does the thought of being stuck in car payments for the rest of your life terrify you? If you're tired of watching your money disappear into something that loses value every month, comment below what's keeping you trapped in this cycle and end with this phrase, "But I will win this fight." Sometimes seeing it written down is what finally breaks the pattern, and your honesty might help someone else realize they're not alone in this. Here's what actually happens when you buy a new car. Let's use real numbers. You walk into a dealership and you see a nice mid-size sedan. Something practical, nothing too fancy. The sticker price is $35,000. You put $3,000 down because that's what you saved up, so you're financing $32,000. The dealer gets you approved at 7% interest for 72 months. That's 6 years. Your payment is $543 a month, which sounds manageable. You drive off the lot feeling good about yourself. In the first 60 seconds of ownership, that car loses 20% of its value. Not 20% over the first year, 20% in the first minute. Your $35,000 car is now worth $28,000. You just lost $7,000 and you haven't even made it home yet. You're already underwater on the loan. You owe $32,000 on something worth $28,000. Over the next 3 years, that car will lose another 30 to 40% of its value. Your $28,000 car is now worth around $18,000. But you've only paid down about $15,000 of the principal on your loan, because most of your early payments went to interest. You still owe $17,000 on a car worth $18,000. You're barely breaking even after 3 years of payments. By year 6, when you finally own the car free and clear, it's worth maybe $12,000 to $15,000. You paid $35,000. You made 72 payments of $543 for a total of $39,000 when you include the down payment, and you're left with something worth $15,000. You just spent $39,000 to own something worth $15,000. You lost $24,000, but it gets worse. Because you didn't just lose $24,000, you lost the opportunity to invest that money. If you had taken those $543 monthly payments and put them in a low-cost index fund averaging 10% annual return, after 6 years you'd have over $49,000. So your car didn't just cost you $24,000 in depreciation, it cost you $49,000 in lost investment opportunity. The total cost of that decision was $73,000. $73,000 that could have been growing for your retirement, for your kids' future, for your financial security. Instead, it's gone. Evaporated. Turned into a 6-year-old car that needs new tires and brake pads. Now here's what wealthy people do differently. They buy used cars that are 3 to 5 years old. Let me show you why this changes everything. That same $35,000 car you were looking at, 3 years later it's selling used for $18,000. Someone else already ate that massive depreciation hit. The car still has most of its useful life ahead of it. Modern cars, especially from reliable manufacturers like Toyota, Honda, or Mazda, they'll easily go 200,000 miles if you maintain them properly. A 3-year-old car with 40,000 miles on it has 160,000 miles of life left. You're getting 80% of the car's useful life for half the price. You can pay cash for that $18,000 car, or if you need to finance, it's a much smaller loan, shorter term, less interest. Your insurance is cheaper because the car's worth less. Your registration fees are lower. Everything about owning that car costs less. And here's the beautiful part. That $18,000 car will depreciate much slower than the new one did. Over the next 3 years, it'll lose maybe $5,000 to $6,000 in value. Compare that to the $13,000 the new car lost in the same period. You just saved yourself $7,000 in depreciation alone. But the real magic happens when you take the money you're not spending on car payments and you invest it. If you were going to spend $543 a month on a car payment, but instead you buy a used car for cash and invest that $543 every month, after 6 years you've got $49,000 in investments. After 12 years you've got $130,000. After 20 years you've got over $350,000. One decision, buying used instead of new, is worth $350,000 over 20 years. That's not theoretical. That's math. That's compound interest doing what it does when you give it time and consistency. Now let me address what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, but I need a reliable car. I can't risk buying someone else's problems. I need the warranty. I need to know it's safe. I've heard all of this before, and it's mostly nonsense sold to you by people who profit when you buy new. Modern cars are incredibly reliable. A 3-year-old Toyota Camry or Honda Accord with 40,000 miles has barely been broken in. These cars routinely go 200,000 miles with basic maintenance. You're not buying someone else's problems, you're buying a proven vehicle that's already shown it can last. And here's what nobody tells you about warranties. New car warranties sound great until you realize they don't cover the things that actually go wrong. They cover the powertrain, sure, but they don't cover brake pads, tires, batteries, or most of the routine maintenance you'll actually need. And most new car warranties only last 3 to 5 years anyway, so if you're buying that 3-year-old used car, you're only missing 2 years of warranty coverage on problems that statistically probably won't happen. You know what's better than a warranty? Cash in the bank. When something does go wrong with your used car, and eventually something will because cars are machines and machines break, you fix it. A transmission replacement costs $3,000. That sounds like a lot until you realize you saved $20,000 by buying used instead of new. You could replace that transmission 6 times and still come out ahead. This is the mindset shift that separates wealthy thinking from poor thinking. Poor thinking says I need everything to be perfect and under warranty because I don't have money for repairs. Wealthy thinking says I'll take some calculated risk and keep cash reserves for when things go wrong because the math works overwhelmingly in my favor. Here's another thing people get wrong about cars. They think they need something bigger or fancier than they actually do. You don't need a 7-passenger SUV if you have 2 kids. You don't need a truck if you haul something twice a year. You don't need all-wheel drive if you live somewhere it snows 3 days a year. The auto industry has convinced us that we need to prepare for every possible scenario with our vehicle choice. So people buy giant SUVs that get 15 miles per gallon because twice a year they might need to move furniture or drive through a snowstorm. You know what's cheaper? Renting a truck from Home Depot for $20 when you need to move furniture and driving carefully on the 3 days it snows. You don't optimize your life around edge cases. You optimize around the 95% use case, and for most people that's commuting to work and running errands. A fuel-efficient sedan or small crossover handles that perfectly well. Subscribe to this channel if you want real wealth-building strategies that actually work. I've been doing this for 50 years, and I'm not trying to sell you anything except the truth. Let me tell you exactly what you should do, step by step, if you want to fix this part of your financial life. Step 1 takes place right now, today, this month. You need to calculate what your current car is actually costing you. Not what you think it's costing, what it's actually costing. Add up your monthly payment, your insurance, your gas, your maintenance, everything. Then multiply that monthly number by 12 to get your annual car cost. For most people with car payments, this number is somewhere between $8,000 and $12,000 a year. That's money leaving your account every single year for something that's losing value. Write that number down. Look at it. That's what your car is stealing from your future. Step 2 happens in month 2. You're going to research what your current car is worth. Check Kelley Blue Book, check Edmunds, look at similar cars for sale in your area. Get a realistic number for what you could sell it for today. Then compare that to what you owe if you have a loan. This is your equity position. If your car is worth more than you owe, you have positive equity. If you owe more than it's worth, you're underwater. Most people with car loans less than 3 years old are underwater, and that's a problem we're going to fix. Step 3 is month 3, and this is where you start building your car fund. Open a separate savings account, I don't care what bank, just somewhere separate from your regular checking. You're going to start putting money into this account every month. How much? Whatever you can. If you currently have a car payment, keep making that payment but add $50 or $100 on top and put it in your car fund. If you don't have a car payment, take whatever you were spending on your previous payment, and put half of it in your car fund. This account has one purpose and one purpose only: to eventually buy your next car with cash. Step 4 is months 4 through 6, and this is where you get serious about cutting the cost of your current car. Call your insurance company and raise your deductibles. You don't need a $500 deductible. Raise it to $1,000 or $1,500 and watch your premium drop. Shop around for insurance. Most people haven't compared rates in years, and they're overpaying by 30 to 40%. Learn to do basic maintenance yourself. Changing your own oil takes 20 minutes and costs $30 instead of $80. Replacing air filters takes 2 minutes and costs $15 instead of $50. These small things add up to hundreds or thousands of dollars a year, and every dollar you save goes into your car fund. Step 5 is months 7 through 12. You're going to make a decision about your current car based on your equity position. If you're deeply underwater, like you owe $25,000 on a car worth $18,000, you might need to keep it longer than you'd like, because selling it now means you'd have to write a check for $7,000 just to get out of the loan. But you're going to accelerate your payments. Every extra dollar you can find goes to paying down that loan faster. You're trying to get to a break-even point where you can sell the car and pay off the loan. If you have positive equity or you're close to even, start seriously looking at the used car market. What can you buy for cash or with a small loan that would cost less per month than what you're paying now? Your goal is to downgrade your car payment, not upgrade it. Maybe you're driving a $30,000 car with a $600 payment, and you find a $15,000 used car you could buy with a $300 payment. You just freed up $300 a month. That's $3,600 a year that can go to investments instead of depreciation. If you know someone who's drowning in car payments and can't figure out why they're always broke, share this video with them. Sometimes people need to hear this from someone who's been studying wealth for 5 decades. Step 6 is year 2. By now you should have some real money in your car fund. You've been putting away $300 to $500 a month for 12 months. That's $4,000 to $6,000. Your car loan is either paid off or close to it. You're ready to make your move. Sell your current car. If you still owe money, use your car fund to cover the gap if needed. Take whatever cash is left over and add it to what you get from the sale. Now you have real buying power for a used car. You're looking for something 3 to 5 years old from a reliable manufacturer. You check the vehicle history report, you get it inspected by an independent mechanic, you negotiate hard on price. You're not emotionally attached to this purchase. This is a tool, a means of transportation, nothing more. You buy it for cash, or with a small loan you can pay off in 2 years maximum. Your new monthly car cost drops by 50% or more. Step 7 is years 3 through 5, and this is where the magic happens. You no longer have a big car payment, but you keep putting that same amount into your car fund every month. You're treating it like a payment to yourself instead of a payment to a bank. After 3 years of this, you have $20,000 to $25,000 in your car fund. You could buy your next car entirely with cash. No loan, no interest, no monthly payment. Just a car you own free and clear. And from this point forward, you never have a car payment again. When your current car gets to be 10 or 12 years old and you're ready for something different, you have the cash sitting there waiting. You sell the old car for whatever it's worth, add that to your car fund, and you upgrade. Maybe you take out $15,000 and buy a nicer used car, leaving $10,000 in the fund to grow for the next one. You've broken the cycle. You're no longer sending $600 a month to a lender. You're cycling your own money through vehicles you own, and the difference between what you were spending and what you're spending now is going to investments. Let me show you what this looks like in real numbers over a 20-year period. Person A keeps doing what most Americans do. They buy a new $35,000 car every 6 years with a 6-year loan at 7%. Over 20 years, they'll buy 3 cars and spend a total of around $120,000 in payments. At the end of 20 years, they own 1 car worth about $12,000. Person B follows the plan I just laid out. they transition to buying used cars with cash. They spend about $18,000 every 6 years. Over 20 years, that's 3 cars for $54,000 total. They saved $66,000 compared to person A. But it's better than that because person B has been investing the difference between their old car payment and their new lower cost. That's about $400 a month for 20 years at 10% return. Person B ends up with over $300,000 in investments, plus they own a car worth $12,000. Same 20-year period. Person A has a $12,000 car and nothing else. Person B has a $12,000 car and $300,000 in investments. The difference between these two people isn't income. It's not luck. It's one decision made differently. That's the power of this. That's what I'm trying to get through to you. Now here's the hard truth you need to hear. Most people won't do this. They'll watch this video, they'll nod along, they'll think, yeah, that makes sense, and then they'll do nothing. They'll keep making their car payment every month. They'll trade in their current car for a new one when the loan is paid off and start the cycle all over again. They'll retire with nothing but Social Security and a 10-year-old car, and they'll wonder where all the money went. Don't be that person. The gap between financially secure people and broke people isn't as big as you think. It's not about making more money, it's about keeping more of what you make. And cars are the single biggest leak in most people's financial bucket. Fix this one thing, and everything else gets easier. You'll have money for emergencies. You'll have money for retirement. You'll sleep better at night knowing you're not one car repair away from financial disaster. Here's your action plan starting today. First, stop looking at cars you can't afford. Unsubscribe from car YouTube channels. Stop browsing dealership websites. Stop fantasizing about what you'll drive when you get your next raise. Every minute you spend thinking about your dream car is a minute you're not thinking about your dream retirement. Second, if you have a car payment right now, add $100 to it this month. Just $100. Pay extra principal. You'll shave months off your loan and save thousands in interest. Do that every month until the car is paid off. Third, open that car fund account this week. Put $50 in it. Set up automatic transfers. Make it a line item in your budget just like your car payment was. You're going to pay yourself instead of paying a bank. Fourth, when your current car is paid off, don't celebrate by buying a new car. Keep driving it. The average car on the road in America right now is 12 years old. Your 5-year-old paid-off car is just getting started. Drive it for another 5 years while you stack cash. Fifth, when you do eventually need a different car, buy something boring and reliable that costs half what you think you can afford. You don't need to impress anyone. You need to build wealth. These are the decisions that separate people who retire comfortably from people who work until they die. It's not complicated, but it requires discipline and delayed gratification. Most people struggle with this. They want what they want right now. They want to feel successful right now. They want to pull into their driveway in something that makes the neighbors notice. I'm telling you that feeling costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's not worth it. Drop a comment telling me what car you're driving right now and what your plan is. Subscribe so we keep working on this together. And if this helped you see car ownership differently, hit like and share it with someone who needs it. The person you share this with might thank you in 20 years when they're retiring early because they finally understood what their car was really costing them. I'll see you in the next video.